Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's continue our game of 9 R.I.P. 9 RIP, running on Nintendo Switch 2.
Daga, 聖夜というものが言っていただろう。お前が幽霊に触れられると、心残りに関する思念が流れ込んでくると。
But that message was directed at me. Kuroha looked back at me, stunned. I, too, was still trying to take it all in. She said it so clearly that if I looked for the eighth and final wonder, she would curse me and kill me. She said something about not awakening forgotten memories. I'm not sure what that means, though.
実は、お前から引き剥がそうと悪霊の腕を掴んだんだが、びくともしなくて。刀で腕を切り落としたんだ。
Oh, then that thing that fell on the floor actually was... When I regained consciousness, I remembered seeing something resembling an arm fall to the ground. The wraith's power must have been so strong, Kuroha had no choice but to use his sword. I'm sorry, I haven't even thanked you for saving me yet. Thank you so much, Kuroha. Kuroha didn't even seem to hear me. He remained silent, as though deep in thought.
切り落とすとき、刀を伝ってきたのか。不思議な心地になったんだ。あの悪霊から何かを感じた。うまく言い表せないんだが、心が惹かれるとでも言えばいいのか。
Huh? You mean you're drawn to the wraith in the same way you're drawn to the living?
それと比べられればよかったんだが、俺は聖者に惹かれるというもの自体分かっていなくてな。
But you said you were attracted to me before.
前にも言っただろ。お前に惹かれたのは聖者だからじゃない。お前だから惹かれたんだ。
Oh, right. You did say that. In spite of the situation, I couldn't help but feel stirred up by his words.
お前に惹かれるのとは種類が違ってな。どう言えばいいのか。
For now, let's just assume the wraith has done something to impact both of us. Kuroha nodded. But what am I supposed to do now? If I go and look for the eighth wonder, the wraith will try to curse me and maybe even kill me. Still, I needed to obtain the name of the final wonder, otherwise I wouldn't be able to return to the mortal realm.
8つ目を解き明かそうとすれば、あの悪霊にお前が狙われる。だが、解き明かさなければ、いずれここで朽ち果てる。
Kuroha expressed my concerns out loud, causing my heart to feel suffocated by my situation. I know, but after what just happened... Merely reflecting on it caused a chill to run up my spine. Now's not the time to be mulling over things like this, but I can't help myself. Kuroha then rested his hand on my shoulder.
俺ができることは、お前を守ることのみ。この空間を写しよに戻し、お前が無事に帰れるようにな。さっきの後では頼りなく思うかもしれないが、この魂にかけて、お前を守ると約束する。だから、俺を信じてほしい。
His gaze was as sincere as his unwavering tone. I should be happy, but his words seemed to carry a deeper meaning, one that filled me with dread rather than joy. He's willing to sacrifice himself to save me. I could see it in his eyes. Of course I believe in you, Kuroha. I honestly don't know if I've ever known someone as dependable as you, but I want to be even stronger, so he doesn't have to put himself in harm's way for me.
何か言いかけていたようだが、どうしたんだ？気になることがあるなら言ってくれ。
No, it's nothing. Kuroha, thank you. I want to protect you too. The words echoed in my heart. I knew better than to say them out loud. Hearing those words would only make Kuroha worry even more. That's right, Yet I got so caught up in the moment I nearly said them, but instead stammered off.
お前も何か約束してくれるのか？
My desperate attempt to find something to say seemed to have tickled him, because he smiled as he spoke. That's terrible. You shouldn't laugh at me. I've been through a lot.
すまない。だがバカにしたわけじゃないぞ。俺を思ってくれているのが伝わってきて、嬉しくてつい笑ってしまったんだ。だから許せ。
Because he could tell I care about him? His words made my heart quicken. Kuroha can be so direct sometimes. I can't help but blush when he talks like that.
お前は無理に約束を交わさなくていい。俺が勝手にしたことだ。
Even still, I wanted to do something to thank him, but I can't think of anything. I wasn't sure if it was enough, but I felt I wanted to say something to him. Kuroha, you're dependable and strong. You're someone I can trust from the bottom of my heart. Kuroha lifted his hand from my shoulder and moved it closer to my face. Huh? Is he? But then he hesitated, eventually putting his hand down by his side.
冗談だ。
He had said the same thing when he teased me the previous time, but this time was different. That was no joke. I could tell from his expression and the way he moved, he wanted to touch me. Why are you lying to me? I shouldn't have asked, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to know. Kuroha looked awkwardly away.
お前の言葉が嬉しすぎて、自然と手が動いていた。すまない。怖い思いをさせて。
I didn't think that Kuroha wanted to touch me just because I was a member of the living. After all, he said he was attracted to me as a person. That's why he wanted to touch me. I felt confused, yet at the same time incredibly happy.
今以上、お前に惹かれないようにする。思う心を止めなければな。
For some reason, his words left me feeling depressed. Not scared. I hesitated for a brief moment. If I don't say this now, I'm not scared, even if you were to touch me. Kuroha's face froze, a surprised look on his face. I still feel confused. I'm sorry. Please, forget I said that.
もう遅い。今のでお前への思いが募ってしまったからな。
Kuroha moved his face even closer to me.
どう責任を取ってくれる？今のは冗談だ。責任を取らせようなんて思ってない。
That's terrible of you. Why do you always have to tease me like that?
お前だって俺の心を翻弄しただろ。
だ
が今のような言葉はもう言ってくれるな。
Huh?
思い続ければお前に触れたいと思う心を制御できなくなる。その肌に触れ、お前を心から感じたいと思ってしまうだろう。男として。そうなったらお前を苦しめる。君が悪いかもしれないが、理性が効かなそうでな。
The idea of interacting with him like that made my head spin. So, Kuroha sees me as a woman. I understand his desire to touch someone for whom you have feelings for. Seiya said that spirits overcome by darkness could harm my mental state, but Kuroha, you don't harbor any dark thoughts or regrets, do you? Asking it that way, I felt as though I was practically asking him to touch me. Still, I couldn't bring myself to tell him directly that I had feelings for him.
俺の中にあるのは戸惑いと疑問。だから闇はないと思っている。だが今のを聞くということはいいのか。
I looked directly at him, silently nodding. Kuroha slowly reached out his hand to me. He seemed to be reaching for my cheek. Finally, his cold, ghostly hand touched me. It made my body twitch. Sensing my reaction, Kuroha quickly pulled his hand away. But I reflexively grabbed his hand. He's shaking. That told me all I needed to know. He was shaking because he was worried about how I'd react. Don't worry, I didn't feel anything. Well, that's not exactly true. I was able to feel close to him.
本当に平気か？ 気を使って我慢しているんじゃ。
You don't believe me?
そういうわけじゃないが、どうしても怖くてな。お前を苦しめているのではと。
His fear was palpable, and he continued to tremble. I'm starting to fall for him. The fact that he worried so much about me filled me with joy. No, it's not causing me any pain at all. The coldness is actually quite comforting.
それならよかった。
Kudha, I'm going to try to discover the eighth wonder, so please protect me.
最後まで守り抜く覚悟だ。お前がうつしょへ戻る時までそばにいる。いや、そばにいさせてくれ。
That should be my line. I'm the one who wants you by my side. Even though I knew we'd have to say goodbye someday, I still wanted to be by his side. It was just as Kuraha said, the deeper my feelings grew, the less I could control myself. Then, in the next moment... Wow! I felt a sharp pain on my right cheek and instinctively covered it with my hand.
やはり俺が触れたことで。
No, it's not that. Kuraha pulled my arm away and looked at the spot of my cheek where I'd felt the pain.
これは。
Kuraha seemed shocked as he looked at me, but the pain took all of my attention. A gaze. The door of the classroom was open. There was a red eye peeking through the crack. Then... the final wonder. The more you chase, the stronger the curse, until your mind lays rotting. The pain vanished in an instant. The wraith at the door was gone.
このままではまずい。
Kuraha picked me up from the ground and tried to run out of the classroom. Unable to stop shaking, I grabbed hold of his collar as tightly as I could. I'm so scared. It was an immense sense of fear, unlike anything I'd ever felt before. What was going to happen to me? Kuraha's perspective. I hurried to the nurse's office with her. What is going on? That thing that appeared on her right cheek. I knew I had to find a place to rest. I held her tightly, hoping to stop her from shaking.
大丈夫だ。俺がついてるから。
She said nothing as she held tightly onto me. I wasn't sure exactly what happened. All I knew was that when I touched her cheek, she seemed to be in great pain. It must be because I touched her. But I touched her on the other cheek. Oh, that's just a small detail. This is all my fault. What have I done? Had I known this would happen, I would have sealed away the feelings I had for her. But it's too late to regret it now. I just have to cut these feelings off. I have to make sure nothing like this happens again. Back to the protagonist. Wait, is this? Coming to, I looked around to find that I was back in the nurse's office. I got up and tried to think. Kuraha was carrying me, and... did I faint from fear? I could hear voices from behind the curtains. Is that Kuraha and Yui? I quickly patted my hair and clothes before opening the curtain to get out of bed. Thanks for letting me rest, you two. Upon seeing me, Kuraha and Yui both audibly sighed with relief. I'm sorry for making you worry, and I'm totally fine, I think. Kuraha, thank you so much for carrying me all the way here. Kuraha frowned. Huh? What mark? After Yui said that, she went over to the nurse's desk and took something out from inside.
これで見てみなさい。
A hand mirror? I looked at my face and... What is this? There was a black bruise on my right cheek. Okay, it's actually a pattern. Then I thought back to what happened in the classroom. Did that voice do this? I only saw the eye for a moment, but I knew it belonged to the wraith from before. Could it be that the wraith did something to me when it touched me? Curse you. I felt a shiver after remembering it.
すまない俺のせいだ
This isn't your fault, Kuroha.
俺がお前に触れていた時にそのあざが現れたんだ
No, it's not your fault, Kuroha. This mark is... I paused for a moment before going on to explain where I believed the mark came from. Remember, Kuroha? You touched me here on my left cheek. It was that wraith that touched me on my right cheek. Honestly, I couldn't remember being touched by the wraith. All I could remember was the negative thoughts flowing into my mind. In response, Kuroha furrowed his brow.
お前の言う通りだが
No, I am right. The wraith did this. I couldn't tell you this earlier, but I felt like someone was watching me in the classroom. Then I saw the wraith peeking at me through a crack in the door.
そうだったのか気づけずにすまない
It's not your fault, Kuroha. I didn't realize it at first either.
ということは、あなたはその悪霊に呪いとかそういう物騒なものをかけられて。
I think so. At least that's what the wraith said. It said the curse would get stronger if I pursued the final wonder. Curse, 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 until my mind lay rotting. Terrified, I fell to my knees.
しっかりして。
Yui immediately rushed over to me, closely followed by Kuroha. They both helped me into a chair.
呪いがかかっているのならこのまま8つ目を追うわけにはいかない
でもそうしないと彼女がうつしおへ戻る道は。
彼女に手伝わせなきゃいい俺たちで動こ
Huh? But
明暗だけれどそれでは意味がないと思う。描かれた彼岸花は彼女の所有しているプリントに現れているのよ。
Yui's right. I had to be the one to uncover the mystery, or the god would put this all into action, or the god that put this all into action wouldn't accept it, and the eighth flower would remain unfilled.
それに私たちが動いたとして彼女のあざに影響しないとは言い切れないわ。私たちが調べるだけで何かしてくるかも。
うということはどこかで見ているのか
ええ、そうじゃないかしら。神様のような力はないと思うし、実際に観察しているのよ。
I instinctively glanced at the door. Kuroha rushed to check outside. Kuroha?
大丈夫だ今はいない
I felt a wave of relief wash over me.
それなら話し合うなら今ね。手早く済ませるわよ。
Right.
悪いが俺はここで見張りながらにさせてもらう
Thank you. I felt safer knowing Kuroha would be on guard at the door.
言い忘れていたけれど、クレハさんからすべて話は聞いているわ。私からも開かずの間について伝えてある。それで私が感じたところだけれど、悪霊は8つ目の七不思議に異常なまでに反応を示しているということは関係しているのよ。
Could it be the name of the wraith is the name I needed to unlock the last mystery? The thought made me quiver with fear. Just as I was about to say that was impossible, Kuroha spoke up.
そういえば言っていたな記憶を呼び覚ますなとも言われたと
Oh, yes, more precisely. It said not to awaken the memories it put to sleep.
8つ目を探れば記憶が蘇ってしまうということね。
Possibly. What does it mean for the memory to be revived? It's a memory she doesn't want to come back? To put it as simply as possible, I suspect there's a memory she doesn't want revived, but given the way she said it, I think it's somebody else's memory.
待って、そもそも悪霊はほぼ自我がないと言われているから、記憶とかそういう以前の話だわ。
それもそうだし、意志を持って彼女に接触してきているのもおかしな話だ。
Couldn't she remember some things? A hush fell over them.
こればかりは悪霊にならないとわからないでしょうね。
You're right, but not having memories. I see. Wait, not having memories sounds like... I glanced at Kudaha. Kudaha, you mentioned feeling something when you severed the wraith's arm with your sword, right?
ああ、そうだが、それが何か関係しているのか。
You said you're drawn to the wraith, and yet you have no memories of how you died.
どういうこと？クレアさん、悪霊に心が惹かれたの？
Kudaha remained silent, offering no answer. Maybe that wraith is somehow linked to your death, Kudaha. That's why it doesn't want the memory revived. It doesn't want Kudaha to find out the truth. My gaze shifted to Kudaha's abdomen. His clothes were stained red with what looked like blood. Could the wraith have killed Kudaha?
クレアさん、幽霊として目覚めてからあの悪霊を初めて見たのはいつ？
1、2年ほど経ったくらいだったと思うが。
So, sounds like my theory is incorrect then.
いや、幽霊が初めから悪霊化しているとは言い切れない。
So, if you don't know what she looked like before she became a wraith, she might have arrived here around the same time as you. So, could the divine invocation incident at the Shikigami estate and that wraith somehow be linked to Kudaha?
まあ、あの悪霊について話を聞いて回れば分かってくるだろう。話し合いはもう良さそうだな。俺は外に出てあの悪霊に関して話を聞いて回る。
私は開かずの間の噂話を探るわ。すでに調べ始めてはいたけれど、まだ分かっていなくてね。あなたはここでお留守番よ。おそらくもうカリファは聞かないでしょうから。
Do Khalifa flowers lose their effect over time?
いいえ、違うわ。カリファの花びらを出してみて。
I unwrapped the Khalifa flower from my handkerchief. The petals I found inside were all black and withered.
やっぱりね。悪霊に触れられた時に力を発揮して枯れてしまったのだわ。
The wraith's touch. Come to think of it, I remembered feeling something like that, like a static shock on my back when it touched me. I didn't see the wraith behind me, but I suddenly experienced this shock. That must have been the Khalifa flower.
一度しか効力はないのよ。だから今のカリファに力はもうないわ。
I see. So, if I didn't have the Khalifa petals with me at the time, I could have been grabbed from behind and taken away. Thank goodness I had the Khalifa petals with me.
カリファはもうないから違う方法であなたを守らないとね。
Yui then took out a key from her pocket. I looked at the tag of the key and saw it said nurse's office on it. That's the key to the nurse's office. Did you take it from the faculty room?
ええ、あなたが眠っている間にね、役に立つかなと思って。この世界は幽霊であっても扉に手をかけなければ開けられない。だから鍵を閉めておけば安全でしょ。
Thank you. That's quite reassuring.
それじゃあ私は先に出るわね。クレハさんが出た後、鍵を閉めるのを忘れずに。
Yes, thank you, Yui. I owe you one. Yui smiled at me and left the nurse's office.
内鍵は何があっても絶対に開けるな。誰が来てもだ。
Got it. Oh, but Yui has the keys, so what do I do when you come back, Kuroha?
そうだな。俺とお前しか知り得ない言葉を合言葉にするか。
Kuroha then moved his face close to my ear and whispered.
ミサ。
Kuroha's whisper caused my heart to jump. After stepping back, I saw that he was smiling.
この世界になるより以前からお前のことは見てきている。おそらくここの幽霊でそうしてきたのは俺だけだ。
That's right. Kuroha said he knew me from before. He must have heard my name when I was talking with Sayaka about or something. I guess you're the only one that knows, huh? Well, I'm glad you remembered.
俺も名を呼べて嬉しいよ。ずっと呼びたかったからな。俺が呼びかけたら戸に耳をつけろ。お前の名をささやくから。
Yes, I'll be waiting for you to come back, but please make sure there's no one around so that they can't hear.
ああ、心得ている。しかしここでは絶対に名を口にするなとお前に言ったが、優越感に浸っていたかったのかもしれない。お前の名を知るのはここでは俺だけとな。俺は意外と独占欲が強かったらしい。あの赤い本は知るところだが。
There's something about that. It makes me feel so flattered.
それじゃ俺も行ってくる。俺が戻るまで無事でいてくれよ。
Then, before he left, I hold his hand. I'll hold his hand. I took Kuroha's hand and held it firmly in my own.
お前怖くないのか。あんなことがあった後で。
This mark isn't your fault, Kuroha. It's okay, really. Kuroha's eyes widened in surprise, followed by a hint of blush. Just be careful, okay? Don't overdo it out there. Kuroha squeezed my hand in return, and then...
一ついいか。戻ってきたらまたこうして手を握っても。
Yeah, of course. My reply came out a bit awkwardly, but Kuroha just offered a gentle smile.
約束だぞ。では行ってくる。
Take care. Releasing my hand, Kuroha exited the nurse's office. A promise, I'm already looking forward to it. I swiftly secured the door after his departure and settled into a chair. A wave of loneliness washed over me, and an uneasy feeling crept up my arm. I just hope they both come back safely. Thinking of all they were doing for me, I became filled with concern. My mind wandered to the connection between the Wraith, Kuroha's memory, and the Divine Invocation incidents. Kuroha's perspective. After leaving the nurse's office, I wandered around, questioning the other ghosts about the Wraith. Everyone had heard of the Wraith, but that was about all. Then again, I wasn't much different. I didn't know anything concrete about the Wraith. I asked Hibiki about it, but that led nowhere. All my efforts seemed in vain. I sighed, gazing down at my hands.
やっと名を呼べたな。
I whispered her name before, but it felt empty, hollow. She had no way to respond. But this time, she blushed when I said her name. The whole thing felt thrilling and exciting. I longed to say her name even more, to have her gaze meet mine.
あまり欲を出してはいけないな。
There was work to be done.
そうだ。戻った時、ただいまと言ってみるか。
My thoughts preoccupied with my thoughts preoccupied with her, I continued to speak to the other ghosts. Chapter 7. After Kuroha and Yui set off to investigate, I thought about things on my own. Beyond the divine invocation, there might be some other connection between the Shikigami family, Kuroha, and that wraith. Kuroha mentioned questioning other ghosts about his identity, yet nobody recognized him. However, he likely didn't speak to the wraith. In the Forbidden Room, if the Forbidden Room was linked to the wraith, it could hold a clue about Kuroha's lost memories as well. For now, I needed to try and find out all I could about the Forbidden Room. So far, the Seven Wonders were largely tied to the divine invocation incident. It would make sense if the Forbidden Room was tied to them as well, which means that Kuroha and the wraith probably had something to do with the divine invocation incident. For the moment, I decided to summarize all I knew about those involved with the murders. First was Yui. She was Isao Shikigami's only daughter, and her disappearance served as the catalyst for the murders. Next was Isao Shikigami himself. Given Yui's behavior, it seemed unlikely that he was at the school. Then there were the victims, 6 in total, as far as I was aware. First was Hibiki. Though not killed by Isao Shikigami himself, he was abducted and confined at the estate. Next was the girl who became a wraith, the one Yui apologized to in the cafeteria. She turned into a wraith while I was with Hibiki. Next, the ghost called the drawing boy. He was kidnapped by Shikigami, imprisoned, and had now crossed over. Finally, Hanako the toilet. Her story was a lot like the drawing boy, and she too had crossed over. I had interacted with all these victims so far, which meant there should be 2 more. It was possible they'd already crossed over, but if they were still here, I should try and find those 2 as well. If they lived during the same time as the wraith, they might know something. I should also go back and talk to Hibiki again. Deep in thought, I heard the door to the nurse's office click and swing open. There stood Yui in the doorway. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you made it back okay. I was feeling anxious on my own, and I was relieved to see Yui again.
私もあなたが無事なようでよかったわ。
After entering the room, she quickly locked the door and approached. Her face was grave as she pulled up a chair and approached.
開かずの間の噂話、その内容がやっと分かったわ。
Really? That's great. I'm so glad to hear there was another ghost who knew about it.
食堂にいる女の子に聞いたのよ。あなたと同じ制服を着ていたから驚いたわ。
Oh, did she have a lunchbox with her? She might be the ghost linked to the 7 of the 7 wonders. Or she might be the ghost linked to the 7th of the 7th wonders.
ああ、だからお弁当箱を持っていたのね。話に夢中で気づけなかったわ。それでね、開かずの間だけれど、彼女が聖者だった頃は七不思議の一つだったそうよ。
Oh, really? Which means that it's no longer considered one of the current 7 wonders?
その通り。なんでも真相を確かめたらしい生徒がネタばらしをしたらしくてね。その内容があまりにもくだらなかったみたい。だから噂に対する熱が冷めて七不思議から外れちゃったということだったわ。
That's interesting, but what determines a rumor getting removed from the school's 7 wonders anyway? The red book in the library previously mentioned something about working to become famous enough to join the ranks of the 7 wonders. I wonder if there's someone like Sayaka managing the school's 7 wonders. Nah, that's just silly, but I'm sure she'd love to do it.
まあそのあたりはこの学校の生徒が決めることだから私にはわからないわよ。とりあえずそのネタばらしを含めて開かずの間の噂話を話すわね。
Ah, yes, please continue. Yui nodded and began to tell me all about all that she had learned. On the first floor of Narigahama High School's main building, If you walk alone there at twilight, you may hear the sounds of a young girl crying. Her voice sounds muffled, as though she's being imprisoned somewhere. One day, a student stayed late for after school, heard the pained cries of the girl, and decided to go looking for her. The student followed the sobs, checking every classroom along the way. Yet, there's one classroom that always remained locked. Yet, for some reason, on that day, it was open. There was a girl inside the classroom, and when the student approached her, she spoke. "Thank you for finding me. I was under a spell that prevented me from escaping. I was crying out of despair." The side of the girl's mouth was slit open. "I'm glad you came. Now I can devour a human." It turns out it wasn't a girl at all, but a monster with a hideous demonic face. Before the student could scream, the girl's huge hand lunged forward and consumed them. Indeed, the forbidden room isn't a place, it's a demon. A demon placed under a terrible spell which prevented them from leaving the room. That's why she continues to cry, in the hope that another student will find her. Even today, whenever twilight comes, the cries echo through the school's crimson halls. The cries of a hungry demon.
というのが噂話の内容よ。ここからは勇気ある生徒がこの噂を確かめた話。
That brave student roamed the first floor of the main building as twilight fell. Yet, there were no cries to be heard. Then, just as the student was about to head home, a faint crying broke the eerie silence. But something about the sound was odd. The student followed the cries. They were actually coming from the library. The library should have been closed at this hour, but the staff was still at school, and the door was unlocked. Approaching the counter of the source of the cries, the student asked, "Teacher, what's with that dog?" There, below the counter, was a small pet carrier with a dog yapping inside. "Ah, my apologies for the noise. This is the principal's dog. I'm in charge of taking care of it here once a month." The cries were more like yaps. The truth behind the demon? It was just a small dog. The forbidden room was just the library, which was normally closed in the evening. So that's the secret of the hidden room. How dumb! When Yui finished her story, I couldn't help but feel a little let down. Yeah, that does sound pretty silly, though I kind of prefer it being harmless.
その感想を裏切るようで申し訳ないけれど、それが真相ではないわよ。
I had a feeling that would be the case. If it really were just a dog, why would there be that final corpse flower on the survey? The rumor was about the first floor of the main building, right? But considering that's not where the library is...
その疑問を解消するためにも、次は場所を探らないとならないわね。
According to the rumor, the room had to be on the first floor, but the first floor of the school building was fairly large. The drawing board appeared in any classroom if you summoned him. Maybe there's a way to call the source of the rumor to you.
あ、そうそう。さっきせいやさんが来ていてね。これをあなたにって。
Yui set a small cloth bag on the table. "What's this?" I picked it up. A floral scent tickling my nose.
カリファの花びらが詰まっているそうよ。あなたの周りくらいなら空気を浄化してくれるかもって。
Wow, that's great. Did Saya leave already?
ええ、用事があるとかでさっさと別の場所へ行ってしまったわ。
I wish I could have thanked him in person. Oh well. Still, I'm not sure this will be enough to keep me safe.
そうね。せめて付き添いがいればいいのだけれど、どこか行きたいところがあるの？
Not really. I was just curious. Actually, I really want to go see Hibiki and track down the other victims of the Divine Invocation incident. But it was hard for me to tell Yui that.
それじゃあ、今度は場所の特定をしてくるわね。
Sorry for all the trouble.
そういう謝罪は聞かないわよ。お礼なら受け取るけれど。
Thanks, Yui.
どういたしまして。それでは、行ってくるわね。鍵を忘れずに。
Yes, best of luck. Yui stepped out of the nurse's office, and I made sure to lock the door after her. Silence filled the empty nurse's office. I glanced at the table and noticed the hand mirror still lying there, my face, and the mark on my right cheek. I moved closer to the table, picked up the mirror, and examined my reflection. I look awful. The mark didn't hurt at all, but touching it stirred a whirlwind of anger inside me, sending shivers down my spine. And the way it looks... I can't let anyone see me like this, especially not Kuroha. True, he'd already seen the mark, but I couldn't help but want him seeing me in a better light. I gazed into the mirror again and adjusted my hair to hide the mark. Do I have feelings for Kuroha? Now wasn't the time for me to be thinking about such things, but I couldn't help myself. No, I need to push these feelings aside. Besides, even if I did have feelings for him, it's not like anything could happen between us. There's no point in thinking about it. I sighed, placing the hand mirror back and pulling out a chair. I tried to refocus, piecing together the information Yui had gathered. The Forbidden Room. Well, I guess we know it's not the library. That was when it struck me. Maybe the Red Book knows. When I talked with the Red Book before, it seemed to know a lot about the school's rumors, overhearing things from the various students. Which means it might know the rumors about the Forbidden Room, too. It might be worth asking. When Kuroha returns, I'll see if he can join me in checking it out. I pondered the next steps and... I heard a knock on the door and cautiously approached. That's Kuroha's voice. Yes, I can hear you. Can you tell me the password? I pressed my ear against the door, heart racing. All he's doing is saying my name. Why am I getting so nervous? Kuroha cleared his throat and... He said it like he was arriving home. His simple words made me smile. I had tried to dismiss my feelings for him, thinking it was pointless to indulge them. Maybe I can ask him to say it one more time. Yeah, say it again. I just couldn't hold back. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. So could you say it again? He said it more this time. I wonder if he'll say it more if I ask him again. No, I shouldn't push it, but... just one last time. I just couldn't hold back. Sorry, I still didn't catch that. Oh no, he's onto me. I hurriedly opened the door.
Oi, 聞こえてないのに開けるなんて危ないだろ.
Oh, he's right. There goes my excuse. Serves me right for being greedy. Anyway, please come in. I ushered Kuroha into the room and I quickly locked the door behind him.
まさかとは思うが、聞こえていたのか?
Yes. Guess I better just come clean. I actually did hear you the first time. It was just hearing you say my name and saying I'm back. It was just so nice to hear. I just wanted to hear you say it again. I was so embarrassed I couldn't even look at him. Then I felt a gentle touch on my head. Looking up, I saw Kuroha smiling as he patted me on the head.
それなら入ってからでもよかっただろう。ミサが無事で嬉しい。ただいま帰ったぞ。
My quickly beating heart burst with emotion. Welcome back, Kuroha. I'm glad you're all right.
帰るのを楽しみにしていたんだが、まさかこんなに嬉しいことが待っているとはな。
Nice surprise.
ああ。俺に何度も名を呼ばせ、それに喜ぶお前が見られた。
So, Kuroha was happy about that too? My heart began to race and I had to look away. I'm glad to hear that. I was heading to sit down at the table when he gently took my hand.
手を握る約束だっただろ
His firm grip made my cheeks flush to an even deeper shade of red. Right, we did.
なんだ忘れていたのか俺は楽しみにしていたんだがな
No, I'm sorry. I was looking forward to it too.
それなら許す
Kuraha grinned, making my heart skip another beat. We took our seats at the table, ready to discuss what Kuraha had found.
俺が調べてきた情報だが
Kuraha began, suddenly lowering the tone of his voice.
どうやらあの悪霊は俺にも目をつけたらしくてな気づくと気配がするんだ
What? You think she's following you? Kuraha nodded, and a wave of concern crashed over me. I'm glad you're safe then. Kuraha, if you were to get hurt. I felt as afraid as if it were happening to me. Was it because we were together? Or because she feared Kuraha would regain his memories? Either way, her following him was troubling.
俺のことは心配しなくていいそれよりも思うように動けないのが辛くてなだから成果はゼロだ申し訳ない
No, it's alright. Your safety is what matters most. Wait, does that mean she's outside listening to us? Alright, well, why don't we stop it there? This is meowmurai. You've been watching 9-RIP, running on Nintendo Switch 2. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.